I found out my boyfriend was cheating the exact moment he introduced her as his future wife, and asked me to clap. The music was still playing. Glasses clinking. Everyone smiling like nothing was wrong. Except me. I stood there, frozen, holding the champagne he had handed me 10 seconds earlier. "Emma, this is Victoria," Daniel said, his hand resting on her waist like it had always belonged there. My stomach dropped so fast I thought I might hit the floor. "You said you were working late," I heard myself say, but my voice sounded small, distant. He sighed, annoyed, like I was the inconvenience. I was. Things changed. Victoria smiled at me. Sweet. Sharp. "You must be the ex he never mentioned." The room shifted. Eyes on me now. Whispering. Measuring. I felt it, public, brutal, final. I should walk away. I should leave with whatever dignity I had left. But my feet would not move. "Say something," Daniel muttered under his breath. "Do not make a scene." A scene? He had just replaced me in front of half the city and I was the problem? My grip tightened around the glass. "You told me I was the one," I said. He did not even hesitate. "You were." Until I realized I could do better. The words hit clean. Precise. No apology. No guilt. Just truth. I felt something crack inside me. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just, gone. "So that is it?" I asked. 3 years? He shrugged. "Do not drag this out, Emma." Victoria leaned closer to him, like she had already won. Maybe she had. I laughed. Quiet. Hollow. "You should have told me I was replaceable," I said. Would have saved me the effort. I turned, finally forcing my legs to move, but the whispers followed. The stares. The humiliation sticking to my skin like it would not wash off. And just when I thought it could not get worse, I heard someone behind me say, calm, controlled, unmistakably powerful, "She is not walking out alone." And for the first time that night, everyone went silent. Emma discovers her boyfriend's betrayal in public and is humiliated as he openly chooses another woman. Her entire world collapses in a single moment. I should have walked out with whatever pride I had left, but instead I froze under the weight of a stranger's voice claiming I was not alone. I turned slowly. He stood there like he owned the room. Tall. Sharp suit. Eyes that did not ask permission. Everyone stepped back without being told. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice still shaking. He did not look at me first. He looked at Daniel. Measured him. Dismissed him. Then finally, his gaze landed on me. Cold. Controlled. "Someone who does not tolerate this," he said. Simple. Final. Daniel scoffed. "This is not your business." The man tilted his head slightly. "It is now." The room shifted again. Not whispers this time. Silence. Heavy. Dangerous. I felt it in my chest. The power difference. The way Daniel straightened like he suddenly remembered how small he actually was. "Emma, do not do this," Daniel muttered. "Do not embarrass yourself further." Further. Like I had anything left to lose. My hands were still trembling, but something inside me steadied. Not because of Daniel. Because of the man standing beside me. I did not know him. That should have scared me. It did. But not enough to stop me. "I am already embarrassed," I said quietly. "At least now it will not be for you." I set the champagne glass down. My fingers were numb. The stranger reached for my coat before I could. Not touching me. Just offering. Controlled distance. "Come with me," he said. Not a request. Not soft. A decision. I hesitated. 1 second. 2. Everything in my life had just collapsed. Job. Relationship. Future. And now this man was offering, what exactly? I looked back at Daniel. At Victoria. At the people who had watched me break. Then I looked at him again. Why? I asked. His expression did not change. Not even a flicker. Because you should not stay where you are not chosen. The words hit harder than anything Daniel said. I swallowed. And you are choosing me? I asked. A mistake. I felt it the moment I said it. His gaze sharpened slightly. Not warmer. Just focused. For now, he said. For now. That should have been a warning. Instead, I stepped forward. And the moment I did, I realized I had just walked out of one disaster, straight into something I did not understand at all. After being publicly humiliated and abandoned, Emma is unexpectedly claimed by a powerful stranger who pulls her out of the situation. Though shaken, she chooses to leave with him. Stepping into something unknown and unsettling. I should have stopped the second we stepped outside, but the night air hit me and I realized I had nowhere to go. He opened the passenger door of a black car that probably cost more than my entire life savings. Get in, he said. Not soft. Not demanding. Just certain. I hesitated, my hand hovering over the door. I do not even know your name, I said. He watched me for a second, unreadable. Adrian Wolfe. The name landed heavy. Familiar in a way I could not place. And you always pick up strangers from disasters? I added, trying to regain control. His jaw shifted slightly. Only the ones worth pulling out. That should not have made my chest tighten. It did. I got in. The door shut with a quiet, final click. No turning back now. The car moved smoothly through the city, lights sliding across the window like nothing had just happened. I sat stiff, hands clenched in my lap. Where are we going? I asked. He did not look at me. Somewhere you can breathe. I almost laughed. I was breathing fine before tonight. He finally turned his head, eyes sharp. No. You were enduring. The word hit harder than it should have. I looked away, my throat tight. I should not let him get in my head. I should not let anyone in again. Silence stretched between us. Not awkward. Controlled. Like he was deciding something. Then, what did he promise you? He asked suddenly. I blinked. What? Your ex, Adrian said. What made you stay that long? The question cut too close. Too fast. I crossed my arms, defensive. Why do you care? His gaze stayed on me this time. Steady. Intent. Because I do not make moves without understanding the board. That was not concern. That was strategy. I felt it immediately. Cold. Calculated. I swallowed. So I am just a move to you? I asked quietly. He did not answer right away. That was worse. When he finally spoke, his voice dropped just enough to make my stomach twist. That depends, he said. Do you want to stay a victim, or become something else? The car slowed. Stopped in front of a building I had never seen but instantly knew I did not belong in. And for the second time tonight, I realized I had no idea what I had just stepped into. After being pulled out of public humiliation by a powerful stranger, Emma follows Adrian into an unfamiliar world, realizing too late she may have stepped into something far more dangerous than she understands. The building in front of me looked like glass and power stacked 20 floors high. I stayed seated for half a second too long. This is a mistake, I said, my hand still on the door handle. Adrian did not move. Then walk away, he replied. No pressure. No chase. That unsettled me more than anything. I pushed the door open anyway. The lobby was silent. Polished. Every step I took felt louder than it should. People noticed him immediately. Not me. Him. Heads turned. Conversations stopped. Power does not need to introduce itself. You bring strays here now, a woman's voice cut through the air as we approached the elevators. Blonde. Perfect. Judging. I felt it instantly, measured, dismissed. I straightened my shoulders anyway. Adrian did not slow down. She is with me, he said. Calm. Final. The woman's smile tightened. For how long? She asked. He did not answer. That silence said more than anything else. Temporary. Disposable. I felt it hit before I could stop it. My chest tightened. I should leave. I should not stay where even he would not define my place. The elevator doors closed, sealing me in with him. My reflection stared back at me in the mirrored walls. Smudged mascara. Red eyes. Not someone who belonged here. You said I could breathe, I muttered. This feels like suffocating. Adrian's gaze flicked to me. Sharp. Because you are still thinking like someone who lost, he said. I let out a dry laugh. I did lose. He stepped closer. Not touching. Close enough that I could feel the shift in the air. Then stop standing where you were left, he said. Stand where you are chosen. There it was again. Chosen. The word that kept pulling me in even when I knew better. The elevator opened to a private floor. Quiet. Controlled. His space. My instincts screamed to run. Why me? I asked, finally forcing it out. You do not know me. Adrian paused at the door, his hand resting lightly against it. For the first time, there was a flicker. Not warmth. Not softness. Something more dangerous. Interest. That is where you are wrong, he said quietly. My stomach dropped. The door opened. And suddenly, I was not sure this was the first time he had seen me at all. Emma is pulled into Adrian's elite world where she feels out of place and judged, while he remains controlled and distant, offering protection without clarity. As she steps deeper inside, she realizes he may already know more about her than he admits. I should have walked out the second he said he already knew me. Instead, I stepped in. The door closed behind me with a quiet click that felt louder than anything from earlier tonight. His space was precise. Clean lines. No clutter. No warmth. Sit, Adrian said, already loosening his cufflinks like this was just another night. I did not move. You said you know me, I pushed. From where? He glanced at me briefly, then walked past. That is not the question you should be asking. My chest tightened. Then what is? He stopped at the kitchen counter, poured a glass of water, and slid it toward me. Controlled. Measured. What do you need right now? I almost laughed. You think this is about a glass of water? His eyes lifted. Calm. Sharp. No. I think this is about survival. The word landed. Again. Always pulling me back to something real. Something I could not ignore. I grabbed the glass just to have something in my hands. Fine, I said. I need a job. I need stability. I need to not feel like I just got erased in front of a room full of people. My voice cracked on the last word. I hated that. Adrian watched me closely now. Not soft. Not sympathetic. Assessing. Good, he said. That means you are thinking clearly. My grip tightened. And? I asked. He stepped closer, just enough to shift the air again. And I can give you all of that, he said. On one condition. There it was. Of course there was a condition. I set the glass down slowly. What kind of condition? His expression did not change. Not even slightly. You work for me, he said. Exclusively. I frowned. Doing what? A pause. Just long enough to make it intentional. Exactly what I need you to do. That was not an answer. That was a trap. I felt it immediately. No, I said. Too fast. Too sharp. My instincts kicked in for the first time tonight. I am not signing up for something I do not understand. Adrian did not argue. Did not push. He just nodded once, like he expected that. Then you should leave, he said. Simple. Final. The room went still again. No pressure. No chase. Just a door, and a choice. I looked at it. Then back at him. And if I walk out? I asked quietly. His gaze held mine. Unmoving. Then you go back to a world that already replaced you. The words hit exactly where they were meant to. Clean. Brutal. Effective. My chest tightened again. Because he was right. And I hated that he was right. I swallowed, my voice lower now. And if I stay? For the first time, something shifted in his eyes. Not warmth. Not kindness. Control. Then you stop being the woman who was left, he said. And become the one people cannot afford to lose. My heart pounded. This was not help. This was transformation. Dangerous. Calculated. Real. I looked at the door one last time. And realized. I did not know which option scared me more. This is not help. This is transformation. And I said yes anyway. The word came out before I could stop it. Fine, I said, my voice steady even though my chest was not. Adrian did not react. No approval. No satisfaction. Just a single nod, like this outcome had already been decided hours ago. Good, he said. Then we start now. Start what? I barely had time to process before he moved past me, already on his phone. Clear my morning. Bring HR in. And get her a full profile built by noon. Her. Not even my name. I felt it again, that shift. I was no longer just Emma. I was something being placed. Positioned. I crossed my arms, grounding myself. You could at least pretend this is normal, I said. He ended the call without looking at me. It is normal, he replied. For my world. That hit. Harder than I expected. Because I knew exactly what he meant. I did not belong here. Not yet. Not even close. 2 hours later, I stood in a conference room that looked like it had never seen doubt in its life. 3 people sat across from me. Polished. Efficient. Judging. Education, one of them asked. Experience, another added. I answered. Calm. Direct. But. I could feel it in the way they looked at each other. Not impressed. Not convinced. One of them leaned back slightly. And what exactly qualifies you to work directly under Mr. Wolfe? There it was. The question I could not answer. I felt my throat tighten for half a second. Just half. Then I forced it down. He chose me, I said. The words felt strange. Heavy. Real. The room went quiet. Not convinced. Just calculating. Then the door opened. Adrian walked in without knocking. The energy shifted instantly. Everyone straightened. Is there a problem? He asked, his tone flat. One of them cleared their throat. We were just evaluating, then stop evaluating and start adjusting, Adrian cut in. Clean. Final. She is not here to prove herself to you. My breath caught. Just slightly. He stepped closer, his presence filling the space without effort. You will recalibrate around her, he continued. Not the other way around. Silence. Heavy. Absolute. I felt it again, that shift. Not belonging, but being placed anyway. Not accepted, but protected. I should have felt safe. I did not. Because protection from someone like him always came with a cost. I looked at him, my voice quieter now. What exactly did I just agree to? Adrian's gaze met mine. Steady. Unreadable. You agreed, he said, to stop being invisible. My stomach dropped. Because something in the way he said it sounded less like an opportunity, and more like a plan already in motion. Emma enters Adrian's world but still feels like an outsider, placed under his protection yet constantly judged. As his influence shields her, she begins to realize protection here comes with pressure, and visibility she cannot escape. The first time I walked into the executive meeting with Adrian, I understood what not belonging really felt like. Conversations did not stop when I entered. They sharpened. Eyes flicked toward me, then away, like I was a mistake no one wanted to acknowledge out loud. I kept my chin up anyway. Fake it. Hold the line. That was the only rule I had now. You are late, a man across the table said, not even trying to hide the irritation. I checked the time. I was not. But I knew this was not about time. No, I said evenly. You just started without me. A few glances. A few raised brows. Testing me. I felt it. Instantly. Then a quiet laugh from the side. Bold, someone muttered. Or clueless. The room shifted toward that voice. Toward me. Waiting. Measuring how I would break. My pulse picked up, but I did not look away. You can decide which one you prefer, I replied. My voice did not shake. That surprised me more than anyone. The air tightened. Then the door opened. Adrian walked in. No rush. No apology. Just presence. The entire room recalibrated around him in seconds. He did not ask what was happening. He already knew. His gaze moved once across the table, then landed on me. Not soft. Not approving. Just aware. Continue, he said. One word. Authority. The man who had spoken earlier straightened. We were discussing whether she is fit to be here. Of course they were. I felt the sting before I could stop it. Adrian did not even look at him. She is here, he said. That answers your question. Silence. Immediate. Absolute. The man hesitated. With respect, Mr. Wolfe, qualifications are my concern, Adrian cut in. Calm. Final. Then, finally, his eyes met mine again. And something in my chest shifted. Not comfort. Not safety. Something sharper. Speak, he said. If you are going to stand here, do not stand quietly. The pressure hit instantly. This was not protection. This was exposure. I swallowed, then stepped forward. You want results? I said, forcing the words out. Then stop wasting time questioning my presence and start using it. A beat. 2. The room went still again. Not dismissive this time. Watching. Calculating. And for the first time, not ignoring me. Adrian's gaze did not move. Good, he said quietly. Just one word. But it landed heavier than anything else today. Approval? No. Expectation. I realized it then. He did not bring me here to hide behind him. He brought me here, to stand in front of him. And if I fell, he would not catch me. He would watch. Emma stands her ground in Adrian's world and earns a moment of acknowledgement, but realizes quickly that his approval comes with pressure, not safety. That realization follows me out of the meeting like a shadow I cannot shake. I should feel relieved. I did not break. I did not disappear. Instead, I feel exposed. Like I just stepped into a spotlight I cannot turn off. I push open the glass door. To the balcony, needing air. Real air. Not the controlled kind inside his world. The city stretches below me, endless lights, endless movement. It should make me feel small. It does. You handled that well. His voice comes from behind me. Low. Close. I do not turn right away. That was not protection, I say. That was pressure. A pause. Then his footsteps. Measured. He stops beside me, not too close, not far enough to ignore. You confuse the two, Adrian replies. I let out a quiet breath. No, I say. You just do not see the difference. Silence. Not empty. Thinking. I finally look at him. You threw me into that room, I continue. If I failed, you would have let it happen. His gaze does not flinch. Yes. The honesty hits harder than anything else. Clean. Brutal. Real. I should be angry. I am. But something else sits underneath it. Something I do not want to name. Then why step in at all? I ask. Why not just let me walk away that night? He studies me for a second. Not my face. Not my expression. Me. Because you did not belong there, he says. And I do not waste potential. Potential. Not feelings. Not care. I knew it. I nod slowly, looking back out at the city. So I am an investment, I say. That is one way to look at it. My chest tightens. I knew better than to expect anything else. Still, it stings. A breeze cuts through the silence between us. For a moment, neither of us speaks. Then, you did not answer my question, I say quietly. Which one? Why me? I turn back to him fully now. This time, I do not look away. His eyes hold mine. Steady. Calculated. And for the first time, something shifts. Not softness. Not warmth. Something deeper. Because you were the only one in that room who did not beg to stay, he says. The words land slow. Heavy. I feel them settle somewhere I cannot ignore. Everyone else was fighting to be chosen, he continues. You were ready to walk away. My breath catches. Just slightly. That makes you dangerous. Dangerous. Not broken. Not weak. Dangerous. I should reject that. I should push it away. Instead, my pulse picks up. Because for the first time since everything fell apart, I do not feel small. I feel seen. And that might be the most dangerous thing of all. He called me dangerous, and for a second, I almost believed him. That feeling lingers longer than it should. Dangerous. Not broken. Not abandoned. I repeat it in my head like it might stick. Like it might rewrite everything Daniel made me feel. I turn away from Adrian before he can read that shift in me. Do not make it sound like I am special, I say. I just did not have anything left to lose. He does not correct me. That bothers me more than if he did. My phone buzzes suddenly, sharp in the quiet. I glance down. Unknown number. I almost ignore it. Almost. Then it buzzes again. And again. Persistent. I answer. Hello? Silence for half a second. Then, Emma. My stomach drops instantly. I know that voice. Of course I do. Daniel, I say, flat. Adrian does not move, but I feel it, the shift in his attention. Focused now. Listening. I have been trying to reach you, Daniel continues. His tone softer than before. Careful. Fake. We need to talk. I let out a quiet breath, steadying myself. We already did, I say. At your engagement party, remember? A pause. Then, it was not like that. I almost laugh. The nerve. You introduced me to your replacement, Daniel. She is not, he stops himself. Recalculates. You are overreacting. There it is. The line he always used. I feel something inside me tighten. Then snap into place. No, I say quietly. I am done reacting. Silence. He was not expecting that. Good. Where are you? He asks suddenly. I hesitate. Not because I want to tell him. Because I realize. I do not know how to answer that anymore. I glance at Adrian. He is watching me now. Not interfering. Not stepping in. Just, there. Present. Controlled. I turn away slightly. Somewhere you are not invited, I reply. His voice sharpens. Emma, do not play games. You cannot just disappear like this. I almost smile. Watch me. I hang up before he can say anything else. My hand is still gripping the phone when I lower it. My pulse is steady now. Too steady. I look up at Adrian. He wants to talk, I say. He nods once. Like he expected that. Of course he did. He will not stop, Adrian replies. Simple. Certain. I cross my arms. I am not going back. I know, he says. No hesitation. No doubt. That should feel reassuring. It does not. Because then he adds, the question is, what are you going to do when he comes to take you back? My breath catches. Just slightly. Because something in the way he said it, makes it sound like Daniel will not just ask next time. And suddenly. I am not sure this is over at all. Daniel said he would come for me, and somehow, I knew he meant it. The next morning proves it. I walk into the lobby with my head up, like I belong here now. Like I am not still learning how to breathe in this world. Then I see him. Daniel. Standing right in the middle of Adrian's building like he owns the ground beneath him. My steps stop before I can control it. My chest tightens. Not fear. Not exactly. Something sharper. Something unfinished. Emma, he says the moment he sees me. Relief flashes across his face. Like I am something he lost, not something he threw away. I force my shoulders back. You should not be here, I say. My voice is steady. That surprises him. Good. He steps closer anyway. Of course he does. We need to fix this, he says, lowering his voice like this is still between us. Like last night did not happen in front of everyone. There is nothing to fix, I reply. You made your choice. His jaw tightens. I made a mistake. The word hangs there. Heavy. Late. I almost laugh. No, I say. You made a decision. His eyes flicker. Not used to being corrected. You are overreacting, he adds, softer now. You always do this when things get hard. There it is again. The same pattern. The same control. I feel the old version of me stir. The one that would explain. Justify. Stay. I crush it before it can speak. Do not rewrite this, I say. You replaced me. Publicly. He exhales sharply. Frustrated now. And now you are what? Running around with some guy you do not even know? His gaze flicks toward the elevators. Suspicious. Threatened. Good. That is none of your business, I reply. It was my business for 3 years, he snaps. The tone shifts. Not soft anymore. Claiming. I feel it immediately. That pull. That pressure. And for a split second, it almost works. Then, you are standing in my building. Adrian's voice cuts through the space behind me. Calm. Controlled. Final. The air changes instantly. I do not even have to turn to know he is there. Daniel does. His entire posture shifts. Defensive. Smaller. I glance back. Adrian stands a few feet away. Hands in his pockets. Eyes locked on Daniel like he is already solved. This conversation is over, Adrian says. Not loud. Not aggressive. Just, decided. Daniel lets out a short laugh. And who exactly are you? Adrian steps forward once. That is all it takes. The man she chose to walk away with, he replies. My breath catches. Because that is not what happened. Not exactly. But the way he says it, makes it sound like something else entirely. Something deliberate. Something real. Daniel's eyes flick to me. Searching. That is not true, he says. I do not answer right away. I should correct it. I should say something. Instead, I stay silent. And that silence says everything. Adrian's gaze shifts to me for just a second. Not questioning. Not asking. Just confirming. Then back to Daniel. You should leave, he says. Daniel does not move. Not yet. His eyes darken slightly. Calculating now. This is not over, he says quietly. A promise. Not a threat. Adrian does not react. It is, he replies. But something in the way Daniel looks at me, tells me he does not believe that. And worse, part of me knows he might be right. Adrian said it was over, but the way Daniel looked at me said this was just beginning. The silence after Daniel leaves is worse than the confrontation. It lingers. Heavy. Unfinished. I feel it in my chest as the lobby slowly returns to normal, like nothing just happened. Like I was not almost pulled back into something I barely escaped. Adrian turns without another word. Come, he says. Not checking if I follow. Assuming I will. I do. Of course I do. The elevator doors close, sealing us in that same quiet, controlled space. I stare at the reflection again. This time. I look different. Not broken. Not completely. You did not correct me, Adrian says suddenly. I glance at him. About what? His eyes meet mine in the mirror. Sharp. Direct. When I said you chose to walk away with me. My breath catches. Slightly. Of course he noticed. He notices everything. I look away first. I did not say anything, I reply. That is not the same as agreeing. He steps closer. Not touching. Never touching. But close enough to shift the air again. Silence is a decision, he says. The words land. I hate that they do. Because he is right. Again. I cross my arms, defensive. Do not read into it, I say. I just did not feel like explaining myself to him. Adrian studies me for a second. Longer than usual. Like he is recalculating something. Then, good, he says quietly. Just one word. But it hits differently this time. Not approval. Alignment. That unsettles me more than anything else today. The elevator opens. We step out into his floor. Everything is exactly where it should be. Controlled. Predictable. Unlike me. He will come back, Adrian says as we walk. Not a guess. A fact. I nod slightly. I know. And next time, he will not ask. My steps slow. Just slightly. What does that mean? I ask. Adrian stops. Turns to face me fully now. His gaze steady. Unmoving. It means, he says, you are no longer dealing with someone who thinks he lost you. My stomach tightens. Then what does he think? I ask. Adrian does not hesitate. That you still belong to him. The words hit harder than anything Daniel said. Because they sound true. Because part of me knows. Daniel has never seen me as someone who could leave. Only someone who could be taken back. I swallow, my voice lower now. And what do you think? Adrian's expression does not change. Not even slightly. I think, he says, you need to decide that for yourself, before someone else does it for you. My chest tightens again. Because this is not just about Daniel anymore. It is about me. About what I allow. About what I become. And for the first time since everything fell apart, I realize I might not be as free as I thought I was. Adrian said I needed to decide who I belonged to, before someone else did it for me. That sentence does not leave me. It follows me into the next morning. Into the office. Into every glance I catch when people think I am not looking. Something has changed. Not just in me. Around me. Conversations stop faster now. Eyes linger longer. Not just judgment anymore. Curiosity. Calculation. Like I am no longer invisible, but not fully accepted either. I walk past a group near the conference area. They do not lower their voices fast enough. That is her, one of them whispers. The one Mr. Wolfe brought in. Another voice, quieter but sharper. No background. No credentials that match this level. I keep walking. Do not react. Do not slow down. But I feel it. Every word sticking. Testing the edges of my control. Then, interesting choice, Adrian. The voice is new. Female. Smooth. Confident. I stop before I can help it. She stands by the glass wall, blonde, composed, dressed like she owns the room. Victoria Lane. I recognize her immediately. Not from last night. From everything else. Articles. Headlines. The kind of woman people do not question. She looks at me like she already knows the answer. You must be Emma, she says, her smile polite but precise. Not warm. Never warm. I have heard very little about you. I meet her gaze. Steady. That makes two of us, I reply. A flicker. Brief. Interest. Or annoyance. Hard to tell. Adrian steps in beside me, like he has been there the whole time. Maybe he has. Victoria, he says, acknowledging her but not giving her more than that. She turns slightly toward him, her posture softening in a way mine never does. You did not mention you were expanding your criteria, she says lightly. Not an insult. Not directly. But I feel it land. Adrian does not react. I did not think it required discussion, he replies. Clean. Final. Victoria's eyes shift back to me. Measuring again. Of course, she says. Some decisions are impulsive. There it is. I feel the push. The invitation to step back. To shrink. I do not. Or intentional, I say. My voice is calm. Controlled. Just like his. For a second, the space between us tightens. Then Victoria smiles again. This time sharper. We will see, she says softly. She turns and walks away like the conversation is already over. But it is not. Not for me. Not for the way her words linger. I look at Adrian. You know her, I say. He nods once. Yes. That is all. Not enough. Never enough. I cross my arms slightly. And she knows about me. Adrian's gaze meets mine. Unreadable. Everyone will. He says. The words settle heavier than they should. Because this is not just a job anymore. Not just survival. This is exposure. Positioning. Strategy. And I am right in the middle of it, without knowing the full game. Everyone will know about me, but no one is telling me why. That thought sits heavy as I walk into the afternoon briefing. This time, the room feels different. Not just curious. Divided. Some people avoid looking at me. Others stare like they are trying to figure out where I fit on the board. I take my seat anyway. We are moving forward with the Lane acquisition, someone says at the head of the table. Lane. My attention sharpens instantly. Victoria's name is not just social. It is business. Of course it is. Mr. Wolfe has agreed to attend tonight's event with Ms. Lane, another voice adds. My chest tightens before I can stop it. I do not know why. It should not matter. It is business. Strategy. Nothing more. It is not confirmed, Adrian says calmly from beside me. The correction is subtle. Controlled. But it lands. The room shifts. Then someone glances at me. Then who will accompany you, they ask carefully. Silence. A beat too long. Adrian does not answer right away. I feel it. The weight of the moment. The question behind the question. Where do I stand? Then, Emma will, Adrian says. Just like that. No build-up. No explanation. The room freezes. I feel it hit before anyone speaks. Confusion. Disapproval. Calculation. That would be unconventional, someone says cautiously. It would be intentional, Adrian replies. Final. No room for debate. My pulse spikes. I did not agree to this. I do not even know what this is. I turn slightly toward him. You did not mention this, I say under my breath. His gaze flicks to me. Sharp. Focused. You said you wanted to stop being invisible, he replies. This is how. That is not reassurance. That is escalation. I feel it immediately. This is not just a job anymore. This is exposure on a level I am not ready for. And worse, it puts me directly in Victoria's line of fire. The meeting ends, but the tension does not. People move faster now. Voices lower. The shift is real. I stand, turning to Adrian. This is not just work, I say quietly. This is positioning. He nods once. No denial. Yes. My stomach tightens. And I am part of it. Yes. No hesitation. No apology. Just truth. I swallow, my voice lower now. Then tell me something real for once, I say. What happens if I fail tonight? Adrian's gaze holds mine. Unmoving. Unreadable. Then, you will not, he says. Not confidence. Not comfort. A statement. I should feel reassured. I do not. Because something in the way he says it sounds less like belief, and more like expectation I am not allowed to break. If I fail tonight, I do not just embarrass myself. I prove everyone right. The dress alone tells me that. It fits perfectly. Too perfectly. Like it was chosen for me before I even knew I would wear it. Stand still, the stylist says, adjusting the last detail. I stare at my reflection. This is not the girl from 2 nights ago. This is someone else. Someone placed. Someone expected. You clean up well, Adrian's voice comes from behind me. I meet his gaze in the mirror. Do not say that like I am part of your presentation, I reply. His expression does not change. You are, he says. Honest. Direct. It should annoy me. It does. But not enough to walk away. We arrive at the event and the pressure hits instantly. Cameras. Eyes. Whispers. I feel every single one of them. That is her, someone murmurs as we step inside. The one he brought in. Not a name. Not a title. Just that. I keep my posture straight. Do not react. Do not break. Adrian's hand hovers near my back. Not touching. Just close enough to guide. To claim space. Stay with me, he says quietly. I nod once. Like I belong here. Like I am not seconds away from being torn apart. Then I see her. Victoria. Already inside. Already watching. Her gaze locks onto mine before I can look away. Calm. Calculating. Ready. She approaches slowly, like this is already her ground. Emma, she says, her smile flawless. I was wondering if you would actually show up. I return the look. Steady. I was invited, I reply. Her eyes flick briefly to Adrian, then back to me. Yes, she says softly. But not everyone knows how to stay where they are placed. There it is. The first hit. Clean. Public. I feel the eyes around us sharpen. Waiting. Measuring how I respond. I should stay quiet. That would be safe. That would be expected. I do not. Maybe, I say calmly, I am not where you think I am. A flicker. Just a small one. But I see it. She was not expecting that. Good. But it is not over. Not even close. Victoria's smile tightens just enough. We will see, she says again. Then she turns slightly, addressing the people around us. It is always interesting when someone new appears, without a clear reason. The words spread fast. Too fast. I feel it ripple through the room. Questions. Doubts. Judgment. Public. Controlled. Strategic. I glance at Adrian. He says nothing. Does nothing. Just watches. And suddenly I understand. This is the test. Not protection. Not support. Exposure. I straighten my shoulders, forcing myself to hold the line. But inside, the pressure builds. Because if I break here, I do not just lose tonight. I lose everything he positioned me to become. If I break here, I lose everything. That thought is the only thing holding me upright as the room quietly turns against me. No one says it out loud. They do not have to. I can feel it in the way conversations shift away from me. In the way smiles tighten when I pass. In the way Victoria does not even need to look at me anymore to control the narrative. I glance at Adrian. He is still calm. Still watching. Not stepping in. Of course he is not. This was always the test. I inhale slowly, forcing my shoulders back. Fine. If this is the game, I will play it. I step forward instead of retreating. That alone draws attention. Good. You are right, I say clearly, cutting through the low murmurs. Heads turn. Victoria pauses. I hold her gaze. I do not have a clear reason to be here, I continue. A ripple moves through the crowd. Agreement. Expectation. They think I am about to fold. I am not. That is because I am not here for the reason you understand, I finish. Silence. Real silence this time. Not dismissive. Curious. Victoria's eyes narrow slightly. First crack. And what reason would that be, she asks, her tone smooth but sharper now. I do not rush. I let the moment stretch. Let them wait. Then, I am here because I was chosen, I say. The word lands heavy. Intentional. I feel it echo in the space between us. Victoria smiles again, but it does not reach her eyes. Chosen, she repeats. By him? A subtle glance toward Adrian. There it is. The real challenge. Not me. Him. I feel the pressure spike instantly. This is where I either stand, or get erased. I do not look at Adrian. Not yet. If I do, I lose control of this moment. Yes, I say simply. No hesitation. No apology. The room shifts again. Faster this time. Stronger. Because that is not a claim people can ignore. I finally glance at Adrian. Just for a second. He has not moved. But his gaze is locked on me now. Not distant. Not observing. Focused. And that changes everything. Victoria notices it too. Of course she does. Her smile tightens just enough to betray it. Interesting, she says softly. We will see how long that lasts. There it is again. The threat. Not loud. Not direct. But real. I feel it settle under my skin. Because this is not over. Not even close. I turn slightly, stepping back into Adrian's space without thinking. Not hiding. Just aligning. And for the first time tonight, I feel the shift go both ways. But then his voice comes, low enough that only I can hear. Careful, he says. Claims like that have consequences. My breath catches. Because suddenly, I am not sure if I just defended my position, or stepped into something I cannot step out of. Claims like that have consequences, and I feel them the moment we leave the event. The car door closes behind us, sealing in a silence that is anything but calm. I sit still, hands in my lap, but my pulse has not slowed since that moment. Since I said I was chosen. Adrian does not start the car right away. He just sits there. Thinking. Calculating. Then, that was not part of the plan, he says. His voice is calm. Too calm. I turn toward him. You did not give me a plan, I reply. You gave me a stage. His gaze shifts to me. Sharp. Focused. And you decided to rewrite the script, he says. Not anger. Not approval. Something in between. I feel the tension snap tight. I decided not to get erased, I say. My voice is steady, but my chest is not. You left me out there. He does not deny it. Of course he does not. I wanted to see what you would do, he says. Honest. Direct. Now you know, I shoot back. Silence. Heavy. Then he leans back slightly, studying me in a way that makes my skin feel too tight. Yes, he says quietly. Now I do. That should feel like a win. It does not. Because I do not know what he sees. Or what he plans to do with it. The car finally moves. The city lights blur past again, but this time I do not look out the window. I look at him. You said claims have consequences, I say. So tell me. He does not answer immediately. That pause says enough. Victoria will not ignore this, he says finally. Neither will anyone else. I nod once. I expected that. And you? I ask. His eyes meet mine again. Steady. Unreadable. I do not make claims lightly, he says. The words land slower. Heavier. I feel it in my chest. You said I was chosen, I remind him. Tonight, you said it like it meant something. A beat. Just one. But it stretches. Then, it does, he says. My breath catches. Just slightly. Because that is not what I expected. Not from him. Not now. I look away first this time. That feels safer. Then why does it feel like I just made things worse? I ask quietly. Adrian does not hesitate. Because you did, he says. Of course he does. The truth. Always the truth. I let out a slow breath. Great, I mutter. So what now? The car slows as we reach his building again. He turns the engine off. Silence returns. But this time, it is different. Charged. Now, he says, looking at me like he already sees the next move, you learn how to stand where you just placed yourself. My stomach tightens. Because I realize something I did not before. I did not just step into his world tonight. I forced myself into it. And now, there is no stepping back. There is no stepping back, and the next morning proves it. The moment I walk into the office, I feel it. The shift is no longer subtle. It is sharp. Immediate. People do not just look at me now. They react. Conversations stop mid-sentence. Screens are turned slightly away. I am not invisible anymore. I am exposed. You made quite an impression last night. The voice comes from behind me. I turn. One of the senior managers. Polite smile. Careful eyes. Not friendly. Not hostile. Measuring. That was not my intention, I reply. He lets out a soft chuckle. It rarely is, he says. Then, quieter, you should be careful. There it is. The warning. Not from an enemy. From someone who understands the system. Of what? I ask. He glances around before answering. Attention, he says. It does not come without consequences here. I nod once. I already know that. What I do not know, is how far it goes. I move past him, but the feeling follows. Tight. Pressing. Like something is about to snap. Then it does. Emma. My name stops me cold. Not because of who says it. Because of where. I turn slowly. Victoria. Standing in the middle of the open floor like she belongs here more than anyone. Which she probably does. My chest tightens. Not fear. Readiness. You should have stayed quiet last night, she says calmly. No smile this time. No softness. Just truth wrapped in warning. I hold her gaze. That was not an option, I reply. Her eyes narrow slightly. There are always options, she says. You just chose the most dangerous one. I feel it. The weight of her words. Not exaggerated. Not dramatic. Real. Then I will deal with it, I say. My voice is steady. I refuse to let it crack. She studies me for a second longer. Then, you will not deal with it, she says quietly. He will. My stomach tightens instantly. Do not assume that, I say. Her expression does not change. I do not assume, she replies. I observe. A beat. Then she steps closer. Just enough to lower her voice. And right now, I see someone who does not understand the position she has forced him into. That lands. Hard. I feel it immediately. Not just about me anymore. About him. About what I triggered. I glance toward Adrian's office without thinking. The door is closed. Of course it is. Victoria follows my gaze. A small, knowing look. Exactly, she says softly. Then she steps back. Composed again. Untouchable. Good luck, Emma, she adds. Not kind. Not cruel. Certain. She walks away like the outcome is already decided. And for the first time since last night, I feel something new settle in my chest. Not doubt. Not fear. Pressure. Because maybe this was never just about me standing my ground. Maybe I just forced Adrian to stand somewhere he did not plan to. Maybe I just forced Adrian into a position he never planned to take, and now I cannot stop thinking about it. The rest of the day feels off. Not chaotic. Worse. Controlled silence. Adrian does not call me in. Does not look for me. That should not matter. It does. By late afternoon, I cannot ignore it anymore. I walk straight to his office. No hesitation. No second guessing. I knock once, then push the door open before he answers. He is inside. Of course he is. Standing by the window, phone in hand. His posture is different. Not relaxed. Focused. Sharp. You were not scheduled, he says without turning. No surprise. No warmth. Just fact. I step inside anyway. We need to talk, I say. He ends the call. Slowly. Deliberately. Then turns. His gaze lands on me. Controlled. But not distant. Not this time. About what? He asks. Like he does not already know. That irritates me more than anything else. About last night, I say. About what I did. A pause. Then, what you claimed, he corrects. The word hits. Again. I hold his gaze. Yes, I say. That. Silence stretches. Tight. Then I step closer. Victoria thinks I forced you into something, I continue. Did I? There it is. The real question. Not about her. About him. He studies me for a second. Longer than usual. Then, yes, he says. No hesitation. My chest tightens instantly. I expected it. That does not make it easier. Then why did you not correct it? I push. Why let it stand? He steps forward. Slow. Controlled. Closing the distance just enough. Because you were not wrong, he says. My breath catches. Just slightly. That is not what I expected. Not even close. You said you were chosen, he continues. His voice lower now. That was your decision. I swallow. And you let me say it. I let you own it, he replies. The words settle deeper than they should. Because they mean something. More than strategy. More than positioning. Something I cannot define yet. I shake my head slightly. That is not the same thing, I say. His gaze sharpens. No, he says. It is not. A beat. Then, because now, he adds, everyone expects me to stand behind it. There it is. The consequence. Not just mine. His. I feel it immediately. The shift in weight. The pressure doubling. And will you? I ask quietly. This time, he does not answer right away. That silence is louder than anything else. Then, that depends, he says. My stomach tightens. On what? His eyes hold mine. Unmoving. Calculating. On whether you can stand where you placed yourself, he says. The words hit hard. Final. Because suddenly, this is no longer about proving myself to everyone else. It is about proving something to him. And I am not sure which one is more dangerous. Now it is not about everyone else anymore, it is about proving something to him. That realization does not sit well. It follows me out of his office, down the hall, into every step I take like something tightening around my chest. I should not care what Adrian thinks. I should not need his approval. And yet, I do. That is the problem. By the time I reach my desk, I already know what I have to do. I cannot stay here like this. Not under his expectations. Not under his control. I grab my bag before I can change my mind. Where are you going? Someone asks as I pass. I do not stop. Out, I reply. Simple. Final. Because if I stay, I will start playing his game exactly the way he wants. And I am not ready for that. Not yet. The elevator ride down feels longer than it should. Too quiet. Too much time to think. Too much time to feel everything I have been ignoring. The moment the doors open, I step out fast. Like I am escaping something. Maybe I am. Outside, the air hits differently. Colder. Real. Not controlled like inside his world. I inhale deeply, trying to steady myself. Running already? The voice stops me mid-step. My chest tightens instantly. I turn. Daniel. Of course. Standing a few feet away like he has been waiting. Because he has. His eyes scan me quickly. My clothes. My posture. Everything. You look different, he says. Not a compliment. Not quite an insult. Something in between. I cross my arms, grounding myself. I am, I reply. He takes a step closer. Too close. This is not you, Emma, he says. Whatever game he is playing, you do not belong in it. My jaw tightens. There it is again. Belonging. Ownership. Control. You do not get to decide that anymore, I say. My voice is steady, but my pulse is not. He exhales sharply, frustrated. I am trying to fix this, he insists. You and me, we are not over. I almost laugh. Almost. We ended the moment you chose someone else, I say. You do not get a second version of me. His expression shifts. Not soft now. Not regretful. Something darker. You think he is better? He asks quietly. Dangerous calm. I do not answer right away. That silence is enough. His eyes harden. You are making a mistake, he says. A statement. Not a warning. I meet his gaze. Maybe, I reply. But it is mine to make. For a second, neither of us moves. Then he steps even closer. Close enough that I can feel the tension snap tight between us. You are not walking away from me that easily, he says. Low. Controlled. And suddenly, I understand what Adrian meant. This is not about asking anymore. This is about taking. My breath catches slightly. Because for the first time, I am not sure Daniel plans to let me choose at all. He is not asking anymore, he is taking. I feel it the second Daniel steps closer. The space between us disappears. My pulse spikes, but I do not step back. Not this time. Move, I say. Calm. Controlled. He does not. Of course he does not. His hand reaches out, not rough, not aggressive, just certain. Like he still has the right. You are coming with me, he says quietly. That tone. That assumption. It used to work on me. It does not anymore. I pull my arm back before he can touch me. No, I say. One word. Final. His jaw tightens. Emma, stop making this harder than it needs to be. I almost laugh. Almost. You mean harder for you, I reply. His eyes darken slightly. There it is. The shift. The version of him I ignored for too long. You are confused, he says. This is not who you are. I step forward instead of away, closing the distance on my terms. No, I say quietly. This is exactly who I am. You just never paid attention. That lands. I see it. The flicker. The moment he realizes I am not reacting the way I used to. But he recovers fast. He always does. This guy, he says, glancing toward the building behind me. You think he is protecting you? His voice drops lower. Sharper. He is using you. My chest tightens for a second. Just a second. Because part of me already knows that. But I do not let it show. Maybe, I say. But at least he does not pretend otherwise. Silence. That one hits. Clean. Daniel's expression shifts again. Not frustration now. Calculation. You really think he will stand by you? He asks. In that world? He shakes his head slightly. You will get burned, Emma. I hold his gaze. Steady. Unmoving. Then I will deal with it, I say. My voice does not crack. Not even a little. But it will not be with you. A beat. Then another. Something breaks in his expression. Not regret. Something colder. You are not walking away from me, he repeats. This time, it is not persuasion. It is a warning. My stomach tightens again. But I do not move. I do not look away. Watch me, I say. Then I turn. Just like that. No hesitation. No pause. I walk back toward the building. Toward the world I chose. Or forced myself into. I do not look back. I do not need to. Because I can feel it. His gaze. Still on me. Still calculating. Still not done. And as I reach the doors, I realize something else. I did not just walk away from Daniel. I walked straight back into Adrian's world. And this time, it feels like I am choosing it. I chose to walk back into his world, so now I have to face it. The moment I step inside, I feel it again. That shift. That pressure. But this time, it does not push me back. It pulls me forward. I walk straight past the lobby without stopping. No hesitation. No second thoughts. I knock once on Adrian's office door, then open it before he answers. He is already there. Of course he is. Standing behind his desk, like he never left, like everything is exactly where it should be. Unlike me. His eyes lift the second I enter. Sharp. Aware. You left, he says. Not a question. A statement. I step inside fully, closing the door. Behind me. I came back, I reply. My voice is steady, but my pulse is not. He studies me for a second. Longer than usual. Then, why, he asks. Simple. Direct. That question hits harder than it should. Because I already know the answer. I just do not like it. Because I am not done, I say. He does not react. Not outwardly. But something shifts in his gaze. Focus. Interest. With what? He presses. I take a step closer. Closing the distance on my terms this time. With this, I say. With whatever this is. My hand gestures slightly between us. Not touching. Never touching. His gaze follows the movement, then returns to me. You walked away from him, he says. Again, not a question. I nod once. Yes. A pause. Then, and you came back here. Another nod. Slower this time. Yes. Silence stretches. Not empty. Not uncertain. Measured. Then he moves. Just one step forward. Enough to shift the air between us. Then understand something, he says, his voice lower now. This is not a place you come back to halfway. The words land. Clear. Final. I feel them settle deep. Because I know exactly what he means. No hesitation. No doubt. No retreat. I meet his gaze. Hold it. I am not halfway, I say. The truth. Whether I am ready for it or not. A flicker crosses his eyes. Gone just as fast. Good, he says quietly. One word. But it changes everything. Because this time, it does not feel like expectation. It feels like confirmation. I exhale slowly, something in my chest tightening and loosening at the same time. Then tell me something, I say. Why me? There it is. The question I have been circling since the beginning. This time, I do not look away. I do not soften it. I wait. Adrian does not answer immediately. Of course he does not. His gaze holds mine, steady, unreadable. Then, because you walked away, he says. I frown slightly. That is not enough. His eyes sharpen. Just slightly. No, he agrees. A beat. Then, but it is where it started. My breath catches. Because that means there is more. Something deeper. Something he is not saying. Yet. I take another step closer before I can stop myself. And what finishes it? I ask quietly. This time, he does not answer at all. He just looks at me. Longer. Than he ever has before. And in that silence, I realize something. I may have chosen to come back. But I still have no idea what he chose me for. I still do not know what he chose me for, and I am done pretending that does not matter. The silence between us stretches too long. Too controlled. Too intentional. I take another step forward. No, I say quietly. We are not doing that again. His gaze sharpens slightly. Interest. Doing what? He asks. I hold his eyes. Do not back down. You giving me half answers, I say. You placing me in situations I do not understand. My chest tightens, but I push through it. You do not get to choose me and keep me in the dark. The words land harder than anything I have said before. I feel it immediately. The shift. Adrian does not move. Not yet. But something in his expression changes. Not colder. Not softer. Focused. Careful, he says quietly. Not a warning. A test. I shake my head. No, I repeat. You said this is not halfway. Then stop treating me like I am. Silence. Thick. Charged. Then he moves. One step closer. Enough to close the space between us completely. My pulse spikes, but I do not step back. I will not. You want the truth? He asks. Low. Controlled. I nod once. Yes. A beat. Then, I knew who you were before that night, he says. The words hit instantly. Hard. My breath catches. That is not possible, I say. But my voice is not as certain as I want it to be. His gaze does not waver. You think I make decisions like that, randomly? He asks. My stomach tightens. Because no. He does not. He never has. Then how? I ask. My voice drops. Quieter now. Sharper. How did you know me? He watches me for a second. Measuring the impact. Then, because you were already on my radar, he says. My chest tightens. For what? I push. He does not answer right away. Of course he does not. Then he turns slightly, walking past me toward his desk like he is choosing his next words carefully. Because of Daniel, he says. The name lands like a shockwave. Everything in me stills. What does he have to do with you? I ask. My voice sharper now. Real tension. Real stakes. Adrian. Turns back slowly. His expression unreadable. More than you think, he says. The room feels smaller. Tighter. Like the walls just moved in. Explain, I demand. No hesitation now. No restraint. He studies me for one long second. Then, you were not just his girlfriend, he says. The words land slow. Heavy. You were leverage. My breath stops. Completely. Because suddenly, this was never just about betrayal. And I have no idea what I was really standing inside this entire time. You were not just his girlfriend, you were leverage. The words do not settle. They detonate. No, I say immediately. Too fast. Too sharp. That is not true. But my voice betrays me. Because something in my chest already knows this is not simple. Adrian does not argue. He does not need to. He just watches me process it. Daniel was involved in a deal, he says calmly. One that required pressure. My stomach tightens. So you used me, I cut in. The accusation comes out before I can stop it. He does not flinch. Of course he does not. No, he says. He did. That stops me. Just enough. Then why did you get involved? I demand. Why me? He steps closer again. Not soft. Never soft. Because you were the only part of that situation that did not belong in it, he says. The words hit differently this time. Not cold. Not strategic. Something else. I shake my head slightly. That does not make sense, I say. You are telling me my entire relationship was, what? A setup? My voice tightens on the last word. Because that is what it feels like. Adrian's gaze does not move. Not entirely, he says. But enough. Enough. That word cuts deeper than anything else. Because it means part of it was real. And part of it was not. And I have no idea which part one lived in. I take a step back before I can stop myself. The room feels smaller now. Tighter. You knew, I say slowly. Before that night, you knew what he was doing. Adrian does not deny it. Yes. My chest tightens again. Harder this time. And you still let it happen, I push. You let me stand there and get humiliated like that. Silence. A beat. Then, no, he says. My eyes snap to his. No. I repeat. His expression sharpens slightly. I ended it, he says. The words land heavy. Controlled. Final. That night. I made sure it stopped there. My breath catches. Because suddenly, that moment shifts. Not random. Not coincidence. Intentional. I search his face. You planned that? I ask. Quieter now. More dangerous. He does not answer directly. Of course he does not. Instead, I chose the moment, he says. My stomach drops. Completely. Because that means everything I thought was chaos, was controlled. Even my breaking point. I shake my head slowly. So what, I say. You waited until I hit rock bottom, and then stepped in? His gaze holds mine. Unmoving. Yes. No hesitation. No apology. Just truth. It should make me walk out. It should make me hate him. Instead, it does something worse. It makes me question everything. Why? I ask again. But this time, it is not about curiosity. It is about survival. About understanding what I am standing in. Adrian watches me for a long second. Then, because you needed to see the truth, he says. My chest tightens. And now? I press. His eyes darken slightly. Just enough. Now, he says, you decide what you are going to do with it. And that is the problem. Because for the first time, I am not sure if I was saved, or chosen for something far more dangerous. Now you decide what you are going to do with it. The words echo long after he says them. They do not feel like freedom. They feel like a trap I walked into willingly. I take a slow step back. Then another. Creating distance. Not from the room. From him. You do not get to say that like you gave me a choice, I say. My voice is steady, but there is something sharper underneath now. Adrian does not move. I did, he replies. You just did not see it. I shake my head. No, I cut in. You controlled the situation. You waited until I broke. Then you stepped in and called it a choice. The words land harder this time. Because I mean them. Because I finally see it. His gaze sharpens slightly. Not defensive. Not apologetic. Just focused. I gave you the truth, he says. That is more than he ever did. My chest tightens. Because that part is real. And I hate that it is real. Do not do that, I say quietly. Do not compare yourself to him like that makes this okay. Silence. Thick. Charged. Then I turn. Just enough to break eye contact. Because if I keep looking at him, I might start questioning myself again. And I cannot afford that right now. You used me, I say. Not loud. Not emotional. Just, clear. Maybe not the same way he did. But you still used me. A beat. Then, yes, Adrian says. The word lands without hesitation. Without defense. Without apology. That hits harder than denial ever could. I close my eyes for half a second. Just enough to steady myself. Then I open them again. Then this is done, I say. The sentence feels heavier than anything I have said before. Because this time, I mean it. I turn fully now, heading for the door. Each step feels controlled. Measured. Like if I slow down, I will stop. And I cannot stop. Not now. Not after everything I just learned. My hand reaches the handle. Almost there. Almost out. Emma. His voice stops me. Of course it does. I do not turn around. I do not trust myself to. If you walk out now, Adrian says, calm as ever, you walk back into a world that already decided what you are worth. My grip tightens on the handle. Because I know that world. I just left it. At least it will be my choice, I say quietly. A beat. Then another. Silence stretches behind me. Then, is it, he asks. The question lands sharper than anything else. Because suddenly, I am not sure. And that hesitation, is exactly what he wanted. Is it? The question stays in my head longer than it should. I do not turn back. I cannot. If I do, I know exactly what will happen. I will stay. And right now, staying feels too much like losing control again. So I walk out. This time, I do not stop. Not for him. Not for anything. By the time I reach the street, my chest is tight, my thoughts louder than they should be. I should feel free. I do not. I feel exposed. Like I just stepped out of protection I did not fully understand. My phone buzzes before I can process it. Unknown number again. I almost ignore it. Almost. Then I answer. Emma, a female voice says. Calm. Familiar. My stomach tightens instantly. Victoria, I reply. Of course it is her. We should talk, she says. Not a suggestion. A decision. I exhale slowly. I do not think we have anything to talk about. A soft laugh on the other end. You walked away from Adrian, she says. Not asking. Knowing. My grip tightens on the phone. That was fast, I reply. Information travels quickly when it matters, she says smoothly. Then, especially when someone makes a mistake. There it is. The hit. Clean. Intentional. I did not call you to argue, she continues. I called to give you a chance. A chance. I almost laugh. At what? I ask. Her voice lowers slightly. Sharper now. To step out before things get worse, she says. My chest tightens. Because something in her tone is not just threat. It is certainty. You think this ends with you walking away? She adds. It does not. Silence stretches. I do not respond right away. Because I feel it. The shift. The trap closing from another side. You and Daniel made this messy, she continues. Now you are pulling Adrian into it. My stomach drops slightly. That was not my intention, I say. Intentions do not matter, she replies instantly. Position does. The word lands heavy. Because that is Adrian's language. Not hers. Which means, this is bigger than I thought. I look up, scanning the street without really seeing it. So what do you want? I ask finally. A pause. Then, meet me, she says. Simple. Direct. If you want to understand what you just stepped into, before it is too late. The call ends before I can answer. I lower the phone slowly. My pulse is steady. Too steady. Because now, I have a choice again. Walk away. Or step deeper into something I still do not fully understand. And somehow, both options feel like a mistake. Both choices feel like a mistake, so I make the only move left. I go. The cafe Victoria chose is quiet. Expensive. Controlled. Of course it is. She is already there when I arrive, sitting like she has been expecting me to show up exactly on time. Maybe she has. You came, she says, not surprised. I take the seat across from her without asking. Say what you need to say, I reply. No games. Not anymore. Her lips curve slightly. Not a smile. Approval. Good, she says. Then I will be direct. A pause. Just. Long enough to make it intentional. You are in the middle of a deal you do not understand. My chest tightens. I already know that, I say. Then you know you are the liability, she continues. Clean. Precise. I feel it hit. Not emotional. Strategic. Daniel lost leverage when you walked away, she adds. Adrian gained it when you walked toward him. My fingers tighten slightly on the table. That is not why I did it, I say. She tilts her head. Intentions do not matter, she repeats. Outcomes do. The same line. Again. This is bigger than both of them. Bigger than me. So what happens now? I ask. Her gaze sharpens slightly. Now they stop negotiating, she says. My stomach drops. And start positioning. The word lands heavier this time. Because now I understand what that means. And me? I ask quietly. Victoria leans back slightly. Studying me. Measuring. You decide who you stand with, she says. Before they decide for you. Silence. Thick. Real. Then, or, she adds, softer now, you step out before you get pulled under. I almost laugh. Almost. You think that is still an option? I ask. Her expression does not change. For you? Yes, she says. For him? No. Him. Adrian. My chest tightens instantly. Because that means something shifted. Something I caused. What did I do? I ask. This time, my voice is not as steady. Victoria watches me closely. Then, you made him visible, she says. The words land slow. Heavy. Dangerous. He does not step in publicly, she continues. He does not claim anything he cannot control. My breath catches. Because I remember that moment. That claim. That shift. And now? I ask. Her eyes hold mine. Unmoving. Now he has to follow through, she says. The air feels tighter. Harder to breathe. Because suddenly, this is not just about me anymore. Not just about survival. It is about something I triggered. Something I cannot undo. I push back my chair slightly, standing before I can overthink it. So I am the problem, I say. Victoria does not correct me. That is worse. You are the variable, she replies. I turn, stepping away before she can say anything else. Because I already know what comes next. Not from her. From him. And for the first time. I am not sure if going back to Adrian is stepping into protection, or stepping into something I just made impossible to escape. If going back to Adrian means stepping into something I cannot escape, then I need to know exactly what I am walking into. I do not go home. I go back to him. The building feels different this time. Not cold. Not distant. Watching. Like it already knows I left, and came back anyway. I do not slow down. I go straight to his office. No hesitation. No knocking this time. I push the door open. Adrian is there. Of course he is. Sitting behind his desk, like nothing ever shifts around him. Like everything else just adjusts. His eyes lift to me immediately. Sharp. Expecting. You left, he says. Again. Same words. Different weight. I step inside, closing the door behind me. I needed answers, I reply. He watches me. And, he asks. I take a step closer. Then another. Now I have them, I say. My voice is steady. But my chest is not. You are not just involved in this, I continue. You are at the center of it. A flicker. Small. Controlled. But I see it. And you are just realizing that, he says. Not mocking. Just, stating. I ignore it. Victoria told me what happens next, I say. No more negotiation. Just positioning. Silence. Then, she is not wrong, Adrian replies. Of course she is not. That makes this worse. Then tell me something real, I push. Am I part of your strategy, or your risk? The question lands heavy. Because this time, I am not asking out of confusion. I am asking to decide. He stands. Slowly. Deliberately. The space between us disappears again. His presence fills it before I can think. You are both, he says. My breath catches. Because that is the one answer I did not want. That is not an answer, I say. My voice drops. Sharper now. That is the truth, he replies. No hesitation. No apology. I hold his gaze. Then why keep me here? I ask. A beat. Then another. This time, he does not look away. Because you chose to stay, he says. That hits. Harder than anything else. Because it is true. Because I walked back in. And if I walk away now? I ask quietly. His eyes sharpen slightly. Just enough. Then you become their leverage again, he says. My stomach tightens instantly. Because I know who. They are. Daniel. Victoria. Everyone watching. Waiting. And here? I press. What am I here? Silence. Just for a second. Then, unpredictable, he says. The word lands different. Not controlled. Not owned. Free. Dangerous. My pulse spikes. Because suddenly. I understand. Out there, I am something they can use. In here. I am something no one fully controls. Not even him. I inhale slowly. Then step even closer. Closing the last inch of distance myself. Then do not treat me like something you do, I say quietly. His gaze locks onto mine. Stronger this time. More direct. Then do not act like something they can take, he replies. The tension snaps tight between us. Not soft. Not safe. Something else. Something sharper. And for the first time, I realize this is no longer about choosing between two men. It is about choosing who I become inside a game that was already in motion before I even knew I was part of it. This is no longer about choosing between two men, it is about choosing who I become. That realization does not leave me when I step out of his office. It follows me into the hallway, into every glance, every whisper, every shift in the air that now feels sharper than before. I am not just in the game anymore. I am visible inside it. And that changes everything. By the time I reach my desk, the tension is already waiting. Emma. I look up. One of the senior partners stands there, not even pretending this is casual. Conference room. Now. No explanation. No softness. Just instruction. I follow. Of course I do. The room is already full when I walk in. Too full. Too quiet. And at the center, Daniel. My steps slow for half a second. That is all it takes. Perfect timing, he says, like this is expected. Like I belong in this moment. I do not respond. I do not give him anything. Then I see her. Victoria. Sitting across from him. Calm. Composed. Watching. And suddenly. I understand. This is not separate anymore. It is all one move. We were just discussing you, Victoria says smoothly. My chest tightens. I am sure you were, I reply. I keep my voice level. Controlled. But my pulse is not. You have become relevant, Daniel adds. The word feels wrong coming from him. Like he is trying to rewrite something he already lost control of. I was always relevant, I say. His jaw tightens slightly. Good. But this is not about him. Not anymore. I shift my attention to the room. To the people watching. Calculating. Waiting to see where I stand. Then let us clarify something, Victoria says, her voice cutting through the space. Where exactly do you stand? There it is. The real question. Not about business. Not about strategy. About alignment. About power. I feel the weight of it immediately. Because this is no longer private. This is public positioning. I could step back. Stay neutral. Disappear into the edges again. It would be safer. It would be easier. I do not. I step forward instead. Just one step. But it changes everything. I stand where I choose, I say. My voice is steady. Clear. Final. Silence drops. Heavy. Immediate. Daniel watches me. Victoria studies me. And for the first time, I am not reacting. I am deciding. But then the door opens behind me. I do not turn. I do not need to. I feel it. The shift. The room straightens. The tension recalibrates. Adrian. His presence settles into the space like something inevitable. Controlled. Absolute. And suddenly, this is no longer my move alone. Because now, whatever I say next, will not just define me. It will define him too. Whatever I say next will not just define me, it will define him too. I feel it the second Adrian steps into the room. The air shifts. Not dramatically. Precisely. People straighten. Conversations die without being told to. Power does not announce itself. It settles. And now it is here. I do not turn immediately. I do not give the room that reaction. Instead, I hold my ground. Because this is still my moment. She stands with me. Adrian's voice cuts through the silence before I can speak again. Clean. Final. Not loud. But it lands like it is the only truth that matters. My breath catches. Just for a second. Because that was not what I expected. Not like that. Not here. Not in front of them. The room reacts instantly. Not openly. Subtly. But I feel it. The recalibration. Daniel's posture tightens. Victoria's eyes sharpen. And me. I am no longer undefined. I turn slowly now. Facing Adrian fully. My chest is tight. Not from fear. From impact. Is that your decision? Victoria asks smoothly. Her tone is calm, but I hear it. The challenge underneath. Adrian does not look at her. He looks at me. No, he says. The word lands sharp. Controlled. It is hers. Silence. Real silence this time. Because now, the weight shifts back to me. Exactly where it started. I feel every eye in the room. Waiting. Measuring. Calculating what I will do now that the position has been named. I could step back. Deny it. Protect myself. Or I could stand in it. Own it. Accept what it means. I inhale slowly. Then I move. One step. Not toward Adrian. Not toward anyone. Just forward. Into the center of it. I do not stand with anyone, I say clearly. My voice does not shake. Not even a little. The room freezes. I stand where I decide, I continue. My gaze shifts briefly to Adrian. Then back to the room. And right now, I am here. The words settle heavy. Not aligned. Not owned. Independent. Dangerous. Adrian does not react outwardly. But I feel it. That shift again. Not control. Recognition. Daniel's expression darkens. Victoria's lips press into something tighter than before. Because this was not the answer they expected. This was not part of the plan. Good. But then Adrian speaks again. Low. Measured. Just for me. Then understand what that means, he says. My pulse tightens. Because I already know. Standing alone means no protection. No shield. No safety. Only consequence. I hold my ground anyway. Because stepping back now would mean I never chose anything at all. And for the first time, I would rather face the fallout than disappear again. I would rather face the fallout than disappear again, and this time, I mean it. The room does not move right away. No one rushes to fill the silence. Because they are all waiting for the same thing. What happens when I do not bend? I feel it in my chest. Not pressure anymore. Clarity. Daniel is the first to break. Of course he is. You are making a mistake, he says again, but this time it sounds smaller. Less certain. I look at him fully. Not the version I loved. Not the version I lost. Just him. No, I say calmly. I already made it. The words land clean. Final. Something in his expression shifts. Not anger. Not control. Loss. Real this time. He exhales, shaking his head slightly. You are choosing the wrong side. I almost smile. I am not choosing a side, I reply. I am choosing myself. Silence follows. But this time, it feels different. Lighter. Like something finally released. Daniel does not argue again. He cannot. Because for the first time, there is nothing left for him to hold on to. He steps back. Just one step. But it is enough. That chapter ends without another word. Victoria watches it happen. Of course she does. Always observing. Always calculating. Then her gaze shifts to me. Interesting, she says softly. Not approval. Not disapproval. Recognition. I hold her gaze. Steady. You were right about one thing, I say. Position matters. A flicker. She was not expecting that. Good. But I am not yours to place, I continue. Her lips press slightly. Not a smile this time. Acceptance. She nods once. Small. Controlled. Then she stands. Then we will see where you hold, she says. Not a threat. Not a promise. A fact. She leaves without looking back. And just like that, the room empties. Not physically. But in weight. In tension. In expectation. It is over. Not the world. Not the game. But this moment. This choice. This version of me. I exhale slowly, finally turning toward Adrian. He has not moved. Not once. Not needed to. His gaze meets mine. Not controlling. Not distant. Present. You did not stand with me, he says. I shake my head slightly. No, I reply. I stood on my own. A beat. Then something shifts in his expression. Subtle. Real. Good, he says quietly. This time, it does not feel like a test. It feels like respect. I step closer. Not pulled. Not placed. Choosing. If I stay, I say, it is not because you chose me. His eyes hold mine. Steady. I know, he replies. I inhale slowly. Then, I stay because I choose this, I say. Not him. Not the game. The version of me that does not disappear. He studies me for a second. Then nods once. No pressure. No claim. Just understanding. And for the first time, that is enough. I do not know what comes next. Not completely. But I know this. I am no longer something to be used. Not by Daniel. Not by Adrian. Not by anyone. I was broken. I was chosen. And now, I choose myself.